Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Ramblings of an Insomniac. I am Courtney. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to every single human out there listening. Hello, humans. Hello, party people. I don't know what time it is in your neck of the woods, but it is about, almost 11 in the morning, my time. So, I've been up for quite some time. I have been outside enjoying the break in the heat. We have been having quite the weather. It's been pretty stinking hot, and we're going to have some really, really hot days coming up. So, I've been out enjoying the break in the heat today. We actually had some sprinkling. We had a little sprinkle here, a little sprinkle there. It's been a little breezy. It's been lovely. This summer has been awesome. We tend to have about every 7 years, we have a horrible summer. And by horrible, I mean it starts in like May, and it starts at like 80 to 85 in May. But then it slowly goes up and up to where like July all the way through like September, even into the evening, it's like anywhere from 86 to 112. And the 90s, like the days that it's in the 90s, last for like weeks on end. And then in the evening, we're lucky if it gets down to 80 degrees at 3 in the morning and there's no breeze. So it's just stagnant air, which I'm sure to a lot of people, like in Texas, are like bunch of wussy Oregonians. Well, yeah, maybe we are. Okay, I'm from a coastal town where I'm used to having a big old ocean that always produces enough breeze that even on the hot days, which are few and far between, you have something to cool you off. And it cools off in the evening. And you can go throw yourself into the ocean, or at least, dip your feet in the ocean. I don't really recommend. Our ocean is pretty dangerous and very cold, but that's up to you. But anyway, you could at least cool yourself off. Here, I don't have a body of water to cool myself off. I mean, I do have one fairly close by, but it's disgusting, and I'm not going to dip my feet into it. So if I want to get to a body of water that's not disgusting, I have to drive for quite some time. And it doesn't really tend to cool off in the evenings. So, but that's like every 7 years. But like an average summer around here, an average one, June isn't bad. You're talking in your 70s, maybe the occasional 80-something degree. You hit July and we're off and running. July and August, you get your, between 80 and 90 degree weather. You do get a lot of 90-degree weather in the end of July and August, yes, but then it'll cool down and stuff. So it's not terrible. It's not terrible. And this summer has been actually pretty stinking great because when we have had the extreme heat, it'll be for like 4 days and then it cools down to like 75, or it like cools down to like 80, but it'll have a breeze and it'll have like a sprinkle or something. So sorry, you're going to hear the floorboards creaking because I'm pacing again. You guys, I know you don't want to hear the floorboards creak. I know that's got to be frustrating. But again, this is why I talk into my cell phone. This is why I do my entire podcast talking into my cell phone, because I don't know how to sit behind a computer and sit still. I will lose my damn mind. Again, back in my day, when we were attached to the wall and we had cords that were 9 miles long, I would pace and pace and pace. I can't sit on a phone or talk into something and not pace. If I'm forced to sit down, I have to like doodle or something. I can't just sit on a phone and not do something. So this is my phone that I'm talking into. So I'm pacing, and I can't really go outside because I'm in an area that has like a bajillion airplanes, and it's driving me bat bananas crazy. And I'm sure it would drive you guys equally crazy, and you don't want to hear that. So I need to just stop walking so you don't hear the floorboards. But that's hard, man. That's a difficult thing. So I'm going to try to go outside, see what we can do. see who's around. But see, there's already like some airplanes in the background, but we'll try it. Anyway, hello, party people. How was your weekend, or is your weekend going so far? Are you having a good weekend? Are you working? If you're having to work, I always work on the, well, not always, but most of my jobs, I would say a good 85% of my jobs have always been in places that are basically open 24/7. And so I worked the weekends, which I actually love. I love working on the weekends and having weekdays off. That way, if you have kids, you can go to doctor's appointments, you can take them to doctor's appointments, and you can take them to their practices and stuff. Yes, that means you can't necessarily go to their games, but I was fortunate enough to have also a lot of jobs that were like a swing shift kind of thing. So if it were day stuff, then I could go. It means I didn't really get a lot of sleep, but I could go. But I like it because then I didn't need to take off time if I needed to go to an appointment. I just had it off. And where I'm from, weekends are a hot mess, nightmare that are touristy traps and horrible. And I don't want to be out in it. Believe it or not, I'd rather work in it than be out trying to drive around and be out in it. I'd rather work in it. But actually, I didn't really work for a lot of tourist traps. I just worked in a lot of caregiving facilities, assisted living facilities, and for kennels and things like that. And I worked at a place called Job Corps. So, so yes, I like having weekdays off, and I'm not a party person. And besides, I feel like Wednesday is like the new Saturday. I cannot tell you, there's a bar where I live that has like an outdoor area and an indoor area both, and they get like music and stuff. And they always have it going on Wednesdays because they have live music. There's a boatload of people, and I think that's smart. Because Wednesday, even if you work, you're going to get off work at some point, right? And a lot of people, in the middle of the week want a day. So anyway, I like that. So, hello. I said that I was going to tone it down on the politics. So, this podcast, you'll be happy to know, is not going to be about politics. Huzzah! Are you excited? Maybe you like it when I go off on my tangents and I get on my soapbox and rant about politics. Maybe it's what keeps you listening. I don't know. Maybe it annoys you. Maybe you're indifferent. I don't know. But that's why I try to mix it up. That's why I try to not talk about one specific thing. I would say that my podcast is not about politics. It's not about family. It's not about dogs. It's not about work or life. It's about all of the above. And like I've said a million times before, there's going to be days that I am going to offend you. You're going to disagree with me. You're going to think I am rude. And then there might be days that you understand where I'm coming from and you can identify with what I'm saying and going through, and maybe you agree. So, that's just called life, right? I think people forget that. People forget that there are billions, with a B, billions of humans on this planet. And we are never, ever, ever going to erase hate, racism, and anger, and, unaliving each other. Unfortunately, all of those things are going to exist no matter how much we scream and yell and pray about it. Because unfortunately, you can't really have love without hate. You can't really have a life without death. And you can't have acceptance without intolerance. That's just life, because if we had everybody loving each other, we wouldn't appreciate the good times, I feel like. And so, unfortunately, we're going to run into people we disagree with. We're going to run into people that we think are absolutely moronic, and we think that everything they stand for is a pile of garbage. But that's okay. I'm sure that more often than not, more often than not, I'm sure we can find something that we have in common, even if it's that we both like pizza, even if it's that we both like the color blue, even if it's that we both like horses, something. And I feel like there are so many more good things that happen in life, and so much more positivity that goes on, and there are far greater good humans on this earth. I truly believe more good humans exist than bad. And as much as I get angry at the bad ones, as much as I sometimes want to just shake my head and, if I'm being very honest, slap sometimes or yell at, which is not mature and not okay, and I'm not going to do that. And I'm not condoning others to do that. I'm not suggesting others should do that, not promoting it. Just being honest and saying there are times that someone has said something and I've just wanted to smack them, but I don't, and I'm not going to, because they have a right to believe what they believe. They have a right to their feelings because they're humans that exist on this planet like I do. We're all here existing. And again, I think more often than not, we can all bond over the fact that we're just really trying to live our lives. We're really trying to work this shit out, and we don't have all the answers. We can bond over the fact that none of us are perfect. I honestly have said that in every podcast, and I'm going to figure out a way to work that into every podcast, no matter what I'm talking about. That none of us are perfect, and that we need to let go of the things we cannot control and focus on the things we can. Because I have to remind myself, again, I have a tattoo on my wrist that I got when I was 19, and it says, let go. Not let it go. It's not from the movie Frozen. I got this long, well before the movie came out, and it doesn't say let it go. It does not have the word it in it. It just says let go. And I had to tattoo that on my wrist to remind myself that I need to let go of the things I cannot control. Otherwise, I'll just run around trying to control everything, because my life has been so chaotic and unstable since I've been young. I grew up in such a chaotic, unstable environment that now, and so many things have happened, and the wool has been, or no, the rug, not the wool. Well, the wool has been pulled over my eyes, but the rug has been pulled out beneath me so many times when I wasn't expecting it, that I am now very much type A control freak. So I have to remind myself, hey, sometimes you have to just let shit go. As hard as it is, and it's far easier said than done. I mean, at least for me, I'll speak for myself. Maybe it's easy for others, but I just, I don't like other people driving. I don't like other people doing anything. I want to do it myself, because then I know, this is why I like sports that are individual sports, because the success and failure is on me. If I fail, it's 100% on me, and I take the responsibility. But I'm not going to lie, if I succeed, I love having all the glory. I like all of the glory being mine. I'm sorry, I just like it. I want my failures to be my failures. I'm not going to blame others. I'm not going to be a victim. But I also want my success to be my success. That could be a good or a bad thing. It's both, I suppose. But I'm an only child, so I'm used to doing things on my own and not having help and not having support. And I have, only biological people. I only have 3 left in my family, my 2 sons and my grandson. Now, I consider myself having 3 grandkids, because I have 2 grandkids that are not biologically mine that I consider mine. But I'm just saying, biologically, I have 3 people left in my family. So I'm just very used to doing it on my own. And help is not something I ask for, which is stupid. People should ask for help if they need it. They shouldn't take advantage of it. They shouldn't ask if they don't need it. You should try to do it yourself. But if you can't, help is not a bad thing. And I don't think that it is. I just don't like asking for it, and I very rarely do. So I don't know. I think we all kind of need to get past that. I've had things thrown in my face, people that have begged and begged for me to accept their help, that have insisted that I take their help, and then they've thrown it in my face. That makes a person not ever want to ask for help again, let me tell you. So I don't. So don't do that to people. Don't insist on helping someone and making them feel bad for not taking your help and then turn around and throwing it in their face or being controlling about it. Don't have help with contingencies. I mean, unless you're talking someone who maybe was a, addict or something, and you're like, look, I'll help you out again, but you've screwed me over a couple of times. So we have some contingencies. Like, I get why maybe there are certain people who have borrowed money from you a couple of times and didn't pay you back. So you're like, look, this is the last time, the very last time I'll help you out. However, here's some contingencies. Like, I get that. But don't beg for someone to allow you to help them and then make them feel bad about it or give them a bunch of rules and control the situation. That's not cool, man. It's not cool. Anyway, what else? So, I like being self-employed. It's pretty great. I have been pretty darn thankful that I get to hang out with animals on a daily basis. And I get to see my office is different all the time. And I'm not in a cubicle. Again, there's nothing wrong with a cubicle. In fact, sadly, people are going to laugh at me and think this is weird. But if I had to, have a 9 to 5, 7 day a week kind of office job, I don't mind just sitting in a cubicle, putting my head down and working and having nobody bother me, not have to answer a phone, but just data entry or something that you just have to put your head down and work. No one bothers you. You don't have a phone to answer. You're just doing your own thing and then you clock out. I'm actually totally okay with that. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't work well with others. And I don't mean that in a shitty way. I love my coworkers as people. I've always loved the majority of my coworkers. I really have. Again, it goes back to the controlling thing. And if I think I'm really good at my job, or if I know that I'm really good at my job, I'd rather just do it because I'm like, just let me do it. I don't want you to fuck it up. I don't want to fix your mistakes, which is shitty of me. I know it's shitty. I'm aware it's shitty, but it's how I am. And women, I'm telling you, if women are being honest, any woman listening to this, if you're being honest with yourself, you're going to agree with me. When you get a group of women, we don't work well together. We're catty. We're super catty. We're super backstabby. We're super bitchy. We'll smile you to your face and talk about you behind your back. That's how women are a lot of times. I'm not speaking on behalf of all women. There's going to be people out there going, I don't do that. Good for you. Glad you don't. I'm talking about, I feel like a good 70% of women do this, even if they like their coworker. That's what's weird. You can like your coworker, but still talk about her. Because women are catty bitches. When you get a group of them working together, it's just a weird dynamic, and I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm not saying I have hated all of my female coworkers. I'm not saying that. I have loved the majority of my female coworkers individually as humans. But you get a bunch of women together, and it just sometimes is, we're not very loyal. We're just catty. I don't know. Maybe it's just, and then you have certain coworkers like I've had that are narcissistic and they like to be the lowest one on the totem pole and come in when everybody else has been there years before you and act like you're an equal and act like you've somehow the, very few years that you have been there somehow is equivalent to the 6+ years the other person has been there longer. And when people think they can just come on into a job and there's no pecking order whatsoever, or there's no respect for people that have been there longer, working and that work harder, but want the same amount of money. I have an issue with that. I have an issue with pecking order and with respect. I don't think people have enough of it nowadays. I think people, again, it goes back to the entitled thing and the deserving thing, like I've talked about. People have the impression that because they exist, that they're just entitled to everything. This isn't a political thing. This is a human thing. I feel like there are humans out there, because they are. It's a fact. I'm just saying a fact, and I don't know how people can disagree with this. There are humans out there, no matter what their background is. I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm not talking about liberals. I'm not talking about any group of people. I'm talking about humans of all backgrounds. A lot of people think that they're deserving of things that they aren't, or that they're entitled to things that they aren't. And it's an epidemic. It really is. It's become a huge epidemic of people thinking that they can waltz in and just receive things that they haven't earned. I like ranks. I believe in you work hard and you get rewarded. I don't believe in someone working really hard and another person not working as hard, and then both of them make the same amount. Or if they're going to make the same amount of money and one person's working hard and the other person's not doing their job, I believe that they should be reprimanded, and then if it continues, they should be let go. I don't believe in keeping people employed that aren't doing the job that they wanted. People forget that they seek out employment. They turn in resumes. They apply for jobs. Very rarely, sometimes it happens, but rarely do companies go seek you out. No. You wanted to be employed at their company. You asked them to employ you, and then they did. And more often than not, you get a job description, and you agree to that job description. You decide to apply to that job after knowing what is expected of you. So that means you do that job and you get a paycheck. If you don't do that job, I think you should be reprimanded or, spoken to. And then if it continues, I think you should be fired. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But nowadays, that's a horrible thing, to be held accountable. We can't be held accountable now. We can't have consequences because somehow you're a victim, or it's racist, or it's whatever. All of these made up baloney that it's not. No, it's you not taking accountability for you not doing your job. Just like people that are overweight, it makes me laugh when people are like, it's fat shaming. No, you're just a fat person. And that's okay. I'm sure you're perfectly lovely. I'm sure you're a wonderful human. Again, I'm not telling you you're a bad person or ugly or don't deserve jobs or whatever. I'm just saying don't make excuses for being fat. You are overweight because you are either lazy, you don't eat well, there are many, many reasons that can cause a person to be overweight. And you could have one of those reasons, you could have several reasons, but they're not excuses. You're not a victim. Just like right now, I've gained 15 pounds. I know why I've gained 15 pounds, because I've been eating poorly and not exercising as much. I don't make excuses. I'm not like, oh, I'm a victim. This just happened. I don't know how it happened. The food just got stuffed into my mouth. No, I made poor choices. If I try to apply for a job that gives me a list of qualifications that they're expecting, and I don't have those qualifications, and I don't get that job, I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm just unqualified. It means I don't have the qualifications. It does not mean that racism was involved or that somebody didn't hire me because of my gender or my sexual orientation, because how does somebody even know that via resume anyway? They may know if you're a female, but they're not going to know your political affiliation. They're not going to know your race on a resume, and they're not going to know your sexual identity. It just means you're not qualified. Stop making excuses. Just like people that constantly make bad decisions in relationships and keep picking the same type of horrible person, expecting them to change. I've done this, so I'm speaking not as a hypocrite. I've done this. I have picked the wrong people. And it's like, fool me once, shame on me. But when you do it over and over again, whose fault is that? You're not the victim anymore. Sorry it happened to you. doesn't make it okay for the other person to be a terrible human and like abuse you mentally or physically or whatever. It doesn't mean it's okay for the other person to cheat. It doesn't make adultery okay. It doesn't make cheating okay. It doesn't make any type of abuse okay. I'm just saying, though, it also doesn't necessarily make you a victim if you continue to choose these people over and over again. Because definition of insanity, choosing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So again, I feel horrible for the people in bad relationships. I know, I've been in them. And some of them were my fault and others were not. But I have to take accountability for the times that I chose someone that I knew was broken and thought I could fix. That's a choice I made. This may not be a popular opinion, but choices have consequences. Doesn't mean I don't feel bad for people. I still feel bad for people. If you're overweight, I don't think you should be made fun of. I don't think that you're an ugly person or a bad person. I'm just saying you've made choices and now you're dealing with those choices, and those choices are nobody's fault whatsoever but your own. Just like if you, again, there are just so many choices that people make. If you choose to cheat on somebody, and that person breaks up with you or divorces you, you're not the victim. You chose to make a bad decision, and now you have consequences. I don't like consequences either sometimes. I hate being the one that's wrong. I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be someone that, that's in the wrong. That's no fun. I don't want consequences. I don't want a ticket. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to be broken up with, or all of these things are not fun. Nobody wants them, but these are about choices. And somehow we've instilled in people that we have excuses for bad behavior. Well, only certain people have excuses, of course. We've also made it to where certain groups of people have excuses, and then other groups of people are crucified for their feelings. So that's also fun. That's been fun. The whole do as I say, not as I do. We like to do that, and then we wonder why our kids are out of control. Interesting. I'm not talking politics here. I'm talking life. And I'm not pointing out groups of people. I'm not saying I'm not calling out groups of people. I'm not talking politics. I'm talking life. This is life, yo. Speaking of life, thank you for tuning in to my silly podcast, because it's been pretty nice being able to talk about the things that keep me awake with people that seem to want to listen, people that maybe can identify with the things that I talk about. It's nice to be able to kind of vent and have people out there, whether you agree with me or not. Even if you're people that are listening because you disagree with me, I still very much appreciate you listening. In fact, it means the world to me that maybe you disagree with the things I say, but you're still listening to me. That makes you an OG fucking amazeballs person. Give yourself a pat on the back. Go look yourself in the mirror and say, I fucking rock. Because you do. If you can listen to people with different points of view without wanting to assassinate them, I mean, that's a really low bar we have set for people now. I've done a million episodes about standards, and we have set standards so incredibly low. But if you can actually have a conversation with someone that you disagree with without wanting to assassinate them or harm them in some way or censor them in some way, good for you. And I don't mean that sarcastically or condescending. I mean that genuine. I really mean that in a genuine way. Good for you for being a human that is an adult, that is tolerant, that is patient and accepting of others, and that walks the walk. There are very few people that walk the walk now. And we need kids to have adults as their parents. We need kids to behave like adults in front of them. Otherwise, we're just going to have a crazier version of the groups of people that are running around setting things on fire because they disagree, or assassinating because they disagree. It's only going to get worse if we don't nip this in the bud right now. By the way, I used to think that was nip it in the butt, like butt, like buttocks. Nip it in the bud. I've never really, bud, like as in a bud of a plant. Nip it, like snip it before it grows. Like nip it while it's a bud or snip it while it's a bud before it grows. I guess that's what that means, but I never knew that until a couple of years ago. I always thought it was nip it in the butt. But anyway, anywho, no politics today. I'm not talking politics. None of the things I'm saying I am directing at a political group of people. I'm directing it at anybody that behaves like a crazy person, including myself. Again, I say these things because I'm aware that I have said and done things that are crazy and irrational, and I have been rude and I've been hypocritical. I know it, but at least I can admit it, and I apologize for it. I apologize for it. I admit it. I don't know why people have such a problem admitting fault. Being wrong is not fun. It is not fun. But again, none of us are perfect, and we're all going to be wrong at some point, more than once. So we just need to wrap our head around the fact that we are going to be wrong sometimes. Whoa, there's a bank open on a Saturday. Okay, crazy. Huh. Anyway, you guys don't want to hear that in the background. So it's okay. Just know that you are not God. You are not a chosen person. You are not like, oh, the heavens do not open up and sing every time you walk out of your house. You are not some saint. You are a human made of flesh and bones, and we make mistakes. And boy, sometimes we do a good job at boogering shit up. Humans can really booger things up when we put our hearts into it, because we have a lot of heart. Some people have a lot of heart, and that's great. God bless the people with tenacity and drive that say it like it is. But sometimes we have to watch what we say. We should watch what we say, because you never know who's listening, like kids. You don't know. You don't know if kids are listening. You don't know what they pick up and hear, and you don't want them to be little gremlins. Come on. We don't need little monsters running around. We have enough shit to worry about. There's enough things that we should be focusing on. There are perfectly lovely children in the world. Let's give them, sorry, I got sidetracked by some weird van. That's creepy. Anyway, let's reward and celebrate the good people. Let's pay more attention and give more light to the good people in the world. Shout out if you're a good person. Shout out to you. I'm going to do the robot. Oh yeah, doing the robot. Here we go. And the sprinkler, and sprinkles, and confetti. You guys deserve a party. You deserve to be patted on the back, because sometimes it's hard to be a good person nowadays. People can really be challenging. And more often than not, I wanted to be like, oh, and I had to bite my tongue hard. Yesterday, I'm out minding my own business, walking one of my customers' dog. We're on a good walk. I'm listening to music. I have one earbud in so that I can listen to other stuff. So I only listen to one earbud so I can hear other things. And I'm just living life, enjoying the companionship of this dog, going on a walk. And I get back to the house, and I'm kind of still on the sidewalk getting ready to go in, and I can hear this man shouting from like a block away, just screaming at the top of his lungs. And I can kind of make out what he's saying, but I hear Trump. I hear row, 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 Trump. Row, 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 Trump, fucking Trump, row, 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 fucking Trump. And then it gets closer and closer, and I hear, fuck everybody that has voted for Trump. I'm going to fucking blow up Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to blow up the White House. I hope someone blows up the White House and Trump and all of his fucking supporters. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So that's a way to handle things. That's a way to get your feelings out. I don't feel like it's a good way or a healthy way. I feel like if other groups of people, if certain people were to behave that way, especially toward other presidents, That would not go over well. If some people were just shouting down the street, fuck Joe Biden. I hope someone blows up Joe Biden. I hope someone assassinates Joe Biden. I hope someone blows up the White House. I hope someone blows up his supporters. That wouldn't go over well. And sadly, this happens on a daily basis for the last 10 years. Thousands of people on a daily basis for 10 years has been threatening Trump and his supporters. So sometimes you just got to shake it off. As much as I can't stand Taylor Swift, I hate her. Well, I'm not going to say hate. That's a terrible word. I dislike her greatly and think she's the most hypocritical moron. But anyway, she is right about one thing, and that is we should shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. I did get a smidge political. Sorry. I'm not sorry, but I did get a little political there. But that's okay. It was just a boop, a little dash, a little sprinkle, a little boop, boop, and now we're over it. We're moving on now. Actually, I don't even think that's political. Again, I think I'm just pointing out hypocrisy, which is not political. Hypocrisy is not political. It's a human thing, and I'm pointing out a human thing that humans do that drives me crazy. When anyone does it. I don't care what political background you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what gender you are, what sexual orientation you are, what religion you are. I don't like hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? That's not political. Anyway, I really hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I mean, that's a kind of a high standard, I guess. Amazing. I hope you have a good day. And then if it happens to be amazing, well, that's fucking awesome. That's pretty rad. If you have an amazing day, I am very happy for you, genuinely. I hope that you do. I want that for you. I wish that for you. But I guess that's kind of a high standard. So I hope you guys at least have a good day. And if you're struggling, if you're going through whatever it is, I'm genuinely sorry. I wish I could be there. I wish I could listen to you. You could vent to me. I have people vent to me all the time. I'm a good listener. I don't always know what to say. Not great with advice. Not great with, knowing. I'm always like, there. And I'm like awkward. But I'll give you a hug and I'll listen. And I'll try to give advice if I can. But I wish I could be there to listen to you because I know what it's like to not really have. I have a lot of friends. I have a ton of friends. But if you don't have family or, it can be hard. Thankfully, I do have a lot of friends, and thankfully my customers and I are close, and they're like family to me. My customers and I have a great relationship like family, which I love, and my friends are like family to me, so I have support. But if you don't have support, that's hard. That's really hard. So I wish I could give everybody a hug if you're struggling. And remember, if you are struggling, please just try to take it one thing at a time. I know it's cliche. It's so cliche, but honestly, if you try not to look at the big picture and you dissect the things, you separate the things that you can control, and then all the rest of the stuff you have to put aside for right now. Deal with that if or when you can. You may not ever be able to deal with it, but put away the things that you cannot immediately control. It's hard. But I wish I could be there for you. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you so much to every person out there. I know there are thousands of podcasts. There are so many podcasts, and certainly ones that are far, far, far better quality than mine. Far better quality I don't claim to be the most intelligent human in the world. I just tell you how I feel. I tell you my point of view, and like I said, you may or may not agree with it. Who knows? But I love everybody. I really do. I want everybody to know that I don't care what country you're from. I don't care if you're from Palestine. I don't care if you're from Iran. I don't care if you're from Canada. I pick on Canada and France constantly. Doesn't mean I don't like the people. It means that your government, in my opinion, sucks. Just like I don't think America is perfect. Just like I don't think Trump is perfect. But there's not a race out there or anything, any people that, I'm not going to identify people with labels. I meet you, I decide if you're a good person or not, and I don't base that on your skin color or your political background or your sexual orientation or what country you're from. I really don't. So, you're all welcome here. Thank you so much for those that do listen. I I really hope you continue to do so. Please tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a coworker, tell everybody. Check out my Facebook, check out YouTube, check out TikTok, Clapper, and I'm not on Instagram a whole lot, but you can check out Instagram. Thank you so much. Until next time.